Thanks very much, Oireachtas. So, Minister, this question is in relation to a community childcare providers in Kilkenny City. So they actually, unusually for a community facility, they're actually in two private houses that they rent. Sorry, it was converted, I should say, a number of years ago so it is purpose-built in that sense, but it's unusual in terms of the mortgage, or sorry, the rent, I should say, that they're paying, with, unlike a lot of other community facilities. And they have an overspill into a local GAA club at the moment for the after schools trying to provide the service, but I'll expand more in the next round.
Chair. Good morning, Deputy. So ensuring high quality early learning and childcare is accessible and affordable is a key priority for me, and there are a number of funding programmes available through my department that seek to improve capacity, which will be open to the village childcare and community service. So the new core funding scheme has a range of objectives, and that includes capacity growth. And even though this scheme is only in place since the 12th of September, initial analysis show that there has been significant growth in capacity, with capacity growths in particular for those cohorts where we need it, so baby rooms and toddler rooms. To meet the costs of this capacity growth, I recently announced that the original allocation of core funding will be increased to €259 million for year one of the scheme, and in addition, the full value of the core funding will be increased by 28 million to 287 million in year two of the scheme. So funding earmarked for scheme in year two will be informed by the emerging data from year one and may focus on promoting further capacity expansion. In addition, my department secured €70 million under the revised National Development Plan for the Building Blocks Capital Programme, which is being designed to meet current and long-term early learning and childcare infrastructure needs. This programme has three pillars. The first pillar is €10 million modernisation grant to improve energy efficiency standards, while also supporting the continuous improvement of the physical environment of services. The second pillar, probably the major pillar, is a €45 million pillar for capacity grant to address capacity gaps, to fund an extension in existing services and investing in the development of new services where they're needed most. And then finally, there's a €15 million innovation grant to pilot a range of innovative initiatives such as outdoor early learning and childcare services. So Pillar 1, the modernisation grant, will open for applications later this year. Pillars 2 and Pillar 3 will be open from next year on and will be available for applications. So I think particularly maybe in terms of the village childcare service, they have the opportunity, if they want to undertake some modernisation of their buildings, they can look for the modernisation grant, which will be open from this year, and then that more substantial capacity expansion funding will be available from next year to them and indeed to all other services.
Deputy Funchion.
Thanks, Oireachtas. Thanks, Minister. Yeah, you see, as I said, it's an unusual situation in that they don't own the building. So obviously, like, the modernisation grant would be fine, but at the same time, I suppose it's sort of like when you're renting a house, you're putting work into something that you're never going to own. So, but I am interested in this, the second part, the 45 million. I think that might be relevant to them. Is that going to be available from 2023? And how do they kind of go about that? Because often, even when people come to us and they either want to expand or maybe open a facility, you sort of don't even know where to start. Like, who do they actually speak to? But as this service is already operating under the community model, I think, and the work that they do is incredible. And actually, the reason that they've expanded into the local GAA club, and in fairness to the James Stephens GAA club, they've given them the use of this, is because they had like around 100 kids waiting for after schools. So it's, and they were able to facilitate a huge amount of them because of that, because they do the collection. It's really unique. A service, I suppose, and it's really, really valuable. So, is there a way for them to apply for that, to try and get a vacant building? Basically, I suppose is the crux of it.
Minister.
Thanks very much. So we announced the modernisation, that's the first, the 10 million scheme. We announced that about a month ago. So I think the best thing they could do is maybe engage with their local, the Kilkenny County Childcare Committee, and talk to them in terms of making an application under that. I absolutely understand what you're saying. And indeed, for a lot of community facilities, they don't own the facility. A lot of community childcare facilities are in rented accommodation. So look, I'll certainly bear that in mind in terms of designing the scheme for the second, the capacity expansion grant, that larger grant scheme. So I would hope to open that later next year, and then the funding will be available. We're kind of building up to, like, previously our department hadn't done very significant capital. It had a couple of million every year, but obviously we've got a lot more in the NDP. That's really positive, and we just have to build up our capacity to get that money out to services. But also, I suppose, we'll be getting a lot of applications in and judging what are the best applications, and targeting particularly to those areas where we do need expanded capacity.
Thanks, Caoirleach. Yeah, no, it's like it services a huge amount of the schools in the city area, and particularly, I suppose, the collection for the after schools. I mean, that is invaluable for parents. I often wish that I could avail of that service at times, but then you never know what time you're going to end up leaving here, so that's definitely not going to be suitable. But it's such a great service when they can offer that for people, and it's brilliant for the kids as well, because it's, there's lots of activities, as well as maybe a bit of help with homework, as well as food, so they're ticking all the boxes as such. Under that scheme, and I see you're saying like late 2023, possibly into 2024, is that realistically going to be a scheme that people can apply for to actually purchase a building, or is it really, do you think, more upgrading works? I suppose what I'm trying to find out is, because they have these two houses at the moment, and now are also in a GAA club, they have such more demand, they could actually service a lot more even if they had the space. I suppose, can they apply for that to get a vacant building? Is that the right fund for them, or if it's not, I suppose, where do they go from here? Thanks, Caoirleach.
So the modernisation fund that's been opened already isn't the right, that is just modernisation and upgrading their existing buildings. But the capacity expansion scheme is about bringing new services online. So again, we're still working on the criteria for it, but certainly that is my desire, that we need new capacity, and we want services to expand. It's interesting, core funding that we brought in has actually already started to deliver expanded capacity, and I suppose our focus in our debates here was very much on better wages for staff, but it is actually also increasing the capacity, and I have a couple of questions later on that I'll address that. Just one more thing on capacity, the planning laws. We need to make planning regulations that are linked to when 75 units of housing are built, a childcare facility is built. That's there at the moment, but it's not delivering. Not delivering in a lot of places. So I've been engaging with local authorities, trying to kind of get the on-the-ground experience, and we'll also be engaging with housing to tighten up those regulations so they do deliver.
Thanks, Minister.